QA manager, and then finally switching over to product manager. So as a product manager, I have like close to 4.5 years of work experience now. Have been responsible for driving the products from initial idea, from the very first line of code, literally making no sales, nothing at that time. And I've left the company, switched over when the product was doing pretty well, and was the company as such overall was making almost like $20-25 million in annual revenue. So being responsible, being driven the product from literally a paper idea on a paper to something wherein they're serving big clients, big customers like Box, for example, Eurorail, for example, Workday, for example. So being responsible, being part of that success story as well, right? And right now in my current role, I'm handling the complete product again from scratch, from very first line of code, and confident that will make it big probably a year or two down the line. You guys have any questions, anything for me to ask about this journey from QA to PM?
Guys, the rules are same, right? You need to be interactive again, and you need to make sure that you need to have like you need to ask your questions, right? And that's how the thing's gonna work. No worries, let's do one thing. So Anvisha, let's start with you, right? I think, could you just give us a quick brief about yourself and, like, again, why you want to be a PM?
Hello, good evening. This
Hmm.
is
Hi.
Anvesha. I'm currently doing a post-graduation in applied linguistics. I do not have any technical background as such. I wanted to uh, have some kind of financial independency and start my career well. So I read about product management and found it interesting. So I'm in this course.
And what all you read about product management?
Uh, like
What was good you read about it? Let me put it this way.
I'm sorry, pardon.
Uh, what good things you read about product management?
The most attractive thing for me personally is there is no like coding involved as such. Yeah, and communication is also a very major part in product management, and that's one area which I am good at, and I have uh, experience in writing and creative creative uh, creation. So I found it interesting.
Okay, good. No, that's pretty. You're right. There's
Yeah,
no coding is involved when it comes to being a product manager.
yeah,
And yes, comm skills, they are like one of the most important uh, skills you need to be very good at,
yeah,
because as a PM, you end up interacting with literally with all departments of the company. It could be from pre-sales, starting off from pre-sales to post deployment customer support team,
yeah,
right? So you understand all those departments which literally come in this horizon. So you have to interact with all those people.
yeah.
So yes, comm skills, it's good. Good one. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So now can we have, so Sakshi, basically it's a new session, right? And at the same time, Manu sir is new to you. So Sakshi, if you could just give us a quick brief about yourself and again why you want to be a product manager, it's gonna help us a lot.
Yeah, sure. Uh, I have done my BTech in computer science, and after that, I worked with Cognizant. And currently, like recently, I did my MBA in marketing and analytics, and I'm working as an associate consultant as of now. And product management is of my interest because it's an upcoming profile. It's a good profile, and plus, it gives you a chance to work on some interesting products.
That's very correct. Yes. You, as a PM, you end up working with quite a lot interesting ideas, let me put it that way. And you will be driving those ideas, success stories, and at times failure as well. So yes, you're right. Welcome.
Perfect. So,
Thank
guys,
you.
perfect, Sakshi. And also at the same time, failures are the part of success. But again, I think failures are more versus than success in product management. Again, guys, it's out of the topic, right? So, but yeah. So, guys, now we have Rakesh with us. So, Rakesh, if you could just give us a quick brief about yourself, and again, rules are same. Why you want to be a product manager?
Hi everyone, good evening. So a little bit about my background, though maybe a couple of you is aware of, like Ritik and all. So I had done my engineering and MBA, then worked across different verticals from operations, finance, and marketing as well. I had my own startups that I ran for 6.5 years before joining a corporate last year. So it's 1.5 year that I'm working there in strategy part. So now I understood that product management is one field which is very much for my inclination because it requires your end-to-end thinking from idea to execution. Definitely, you share both the part out of it, success and failure, as everyone is aware of. So somewhere I felt that okay, that is something what I really want to do, where I should have understanding of anything what I'm doing from end to end, rather than just a small part of it. That's all. Yes,
Thanks,
Ritik.
thanks, Rakesh. Welcome, and it's nice meeting you again. And I'm sure I'll use your example most likely in today's session as well.
Wonderful. Sure.
Perfect. So, guys, now we have Sridhar with us. Sridhar, again, if you could just give us a quick brief about yourself.
Yeah, hi. I'm Sridhar. I'm from Hyderabad. I have total 14 years of experience. Currently working as technical manager in Toll Plus. So why I want to move into product management is I could get um, freedom to take major decisions, move up the ladder into management side instead of completely technical. So that is what I'm interested in.
Okay, good. Thanks. Thanks
Perfect.
for this.
Perfect. So the last one we have, I think,
Pritam?
Preetham.
Yeah,
Perfect. Hi,
hi.
Preetham. So yeah, please, same rule, same.
So I'm a recent BCA graduate. Around 2019, I came across product management sector. Uh, I am like interested in creating brands, products, designing things, managing something. And my end goal is to be an entrepreneur. I don't know how many years it would take, but that's my end goal. And product management is kind of a pathway to that role for me, and I'm genuinely interested in product management rather than other things like being a developer or something, because I don't like coding. So yeah, it's about it.
Okay, good. Thanks, Pritam.
Perfect. So guys, I'm I'm leaving the meeting. My parents' health is not so well, and I need to make sure that I need to put my efforts over there. So in that way, I'm just making Manu sir as a co-host and handing over the session to him. And guys, if you feel any kind of a problem or if you face any kind of an issue or something, which you will not face end of the day, but again, if you face anything and if you have some doubts, make sure to put on WhatsApp group, and we are more than happy to help you out. Perfect. Manu sir, handing over the session to you.
Thanks, Ritik. Thank you.
Sure, Ritik. Take care.
Okay, welcome everyone to, I guess this is your second or third session. And today we will be talking a lot about user research and basically what user research is, why do we want to do it, what's the advantage, what's the disadvantage of doing user research, how do we conduct user research sessions, how do we analyze it, how do we conclude the data out of those user research, and how do we make best use of it. Most likely, I'll be honest, will not be able to cover everything in one session, but yes, that's the agenda we have. So before I jump over to the next slide, just a couple of rules here, guys. I am a strong believer in asking questions, right? And that's been the way I've been, whether I was attending a school, class, college, whatever, and at the same time when I'm conducting any sessions. So I'll speak less, and I would love if you guys participate as much as possible, because I really want this to be an interactive session. And more we interact, more we kind of ask questions, share our knowledge, better learning will end up with. So, and just to take it forward, I'll ask you plenty of questions throughout this. And please don't hesitate. There's nothing called right, wrong, right? So whatever comes to your mind, please just jump over it and answer it. So before we talk about user research, how about Preetham? Can you just share some thoughts what user research could be in your understanding? Anything may work, or whatever you think.
Researching on users, okay, something which it is in feedback, or and study into the users. No,
Perfect.
say
Yeah. That's a good
users'
one.
behaviors,
Right.
Yeah, how the user interacts, his behavior is while using the product. Yes. And what specific things we need to target or improve.
Yes.
And get feedback along the way.
Yes, you got it correct to a great extent. What do you think, Sakshi? What user research could be?
So I think it's about analyzing customers' needs, about their behavior, about user segmentation, all this.
Yep, both of you are correct to a great extent on this. So always remember that as a product manager, the essence of your role is creating a product that users want to use, a product that provides value and delight in equal measurements, right? In order to do this, you first have to understand your users, their needs, their motivations, and the most important, their pain points, right? And this is what we literally end up when we say that we are doing a user research. So just to rephrase it, in user research, we are trying to understand the user's need, their wants, their motivations of using my product, and any of the pain points. It could be let's take an example that, say I'm a Skype user and I am not happy with the way Skype normally works. So somebody from Zoom may come to me and ask me what I don't like in Skype. So that's an area of opportunity for Zoom team, right? So they will make sure that those dislikes, they change to likes in their product. And literally what will happen, I'll stop using Skype and I'll switch over to Zoom, right? So this is what we end up doing when we say that, yes, I'm doing user research, why I'm doing it. So user research, it means nothing but observing your users, asking them questions, and finding out what they like and dislike, what motivates them to do certain things, and why they like to do it. I put a lot of emphasis on why part. So as a PM, always remember the importance of why in your role. Why should we add this feature? Why should we not add this feature? Why do I need to do a user research? Is it really required? So always kind of ask yourself these questions. And as a practice, normally in the industry, it's like 3 whys, 4 whys, why after why. So you'll drill down to a very concrete reason for taking that step. So always ask this, that the way they would like to use the product, why they want to do it this way, why not this way. So these kind of questions, we'll talk a lot about this. I'm just giving you what the session is all about. So user research is literally your first step towards designing a successful product. It's helpful in keeping product, iteration and the refinements in line with the user expectations. So every time we do some user research sessions, let's assume that I speak to 10 of my existing customers, 10 of my existing users, and out of those 10, just examples, 7 of them said that they don't like this feed, the Facebook feed, kind of an example. So they don't like the Facebook feed on right side of the screen, or rather they prefer it in the center part of the screen. So that's an area of opportunity for me to improve my product. So out of 10, 7 is a big number. So practically, I'll reach out to more users and ask them the same questions. Is it left, right, or center for the feed placement? So on the basis of what they say, let's assume that 80% of my users say that they want it to be in the center, right? So then it's my responsibility as a PM to take it forward and make sure that we realign the placement of the feed component in my product. Right? So this is like very basic advantage or the use case we have when we talk about the user research. So we already talked about part of this, that we'll talk about user research. Why do we want to do it? Advantage, disadvantage. And there's one basic difference between users and customers, which as a PM, you guys should know. So we'll just touch base on that as well. Then what are the different research things we normally end up with? How do we do research? What is market research? What is user research? There's a different term altogether, user research and market research. Then how exactly we'll be doing these researches? What are the different ways we can do it? Is it done through surveys? It can do some just sitting next to a user and just checking how exactly he's using my product, all those things. So we'll cover all these things in this session. Right, so this is just again, why user research, difference between customers and users, right? Then a product could be in 0 to 1 stage, or the product could be in 1 to n stage, right? So my approach will change altogether. 0 to 1 is nothing. Anyone has that idea what 0 to 1 and 1 to n?
Yeah, when you're building a product or a feature into a product. So basically, doing a research about that feature or that particular product, that how and when to launch this product for the customer that they are going to use it. This is called 0 to 1. But the moment you understand, okay, this product is in use, or the feature is in use, or you want to scale it up and acquire first 100 or 1,000 customers. That's called the 1 to 1.
Exactly. Yes. So when the product is in very initial stage, it's not even there in the market and you're just building on it, MVP, that's 0 to 1. But once it's sellable, there are users and you're adding more and more features on that product, that moves to 1 to n stage. So we'll talk a lot about this as well. Okay. So let me just go back. As we said, that user research is integral to your understanding of your users and how they interact with your product. It serves as a link between you and your users, a way to empathize with their needs and wants, right? And incorporate that into your product. What literally my user wants, I want to add that in my product. What is it which they don't like using? I need to make sure that I work on it, and that's added as a wonderful feature in my report. So all these things, you'll end up with collecting some data post your user research sessions. And as a product manager, please remember that user research is a very, very crucial part of the entire product development cycle. So I remember some of you were there in the session when I talked about product development life cycle or the stages of it. So user research is very important part when it comes to that, the development life cycle of the product. Right? Are we getting some sense of it? Are we getting some taste of it? What exactly we are talking about here? Yes, no, maybe.
Yeah. Yes.
Completely off track. Are we good to move to the next slide? Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So these are the different steps when we need to do a user research, right? We'll state some hypothesis. Nothing but an idea, right? So we'll state some hypothesis that we need to validate. That's like the first thing we'll do, right? Then we'll define the objectives that we want to achieve through the research. What's the end goal I want to achieve, right? Then we select the most suitable user research method, depending on the product type, the platform, and the nature of information that I want to collect. We will talk in detail about everything. This I'm just giving you a sense of it, right? Then we conduct the user research and we gather the data. And once we have the data, then we actually analyze it. And then we draw the actionable insights from the data. So when we talk about doing a user research, we follow those 5 steps. We state the hypothesis, we define the objectives, we select the method, we conduct the research, and we collect the data. And the last is we analyze the data that's been collected. I'll just pause here for 20 seconds and please just kind of go through it and let me know if you have any doubts on this one. Are we good? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm just sending you one interesting link. So this is just a Medium article. It's there in Zoom chat. And you just kind of open the link and save it for your, maybe after the class. I would prefer that you guys just kind of go through it and get some more sense what user research is all about. I would also like to give you a very practical example on the importance of user research. So we all know Coca-Cola, right? So it's back almost like 20-30 years ago that Coke was like one of the key players. It's still one of the key players in the market, and they wanted to launch a new flavor of the Coca-Cola product, which is already there. So what they did, they kind of conducted some blind tasting sessions with almost like, I guess it was close to 2 lakh or 20 lakh. 2 lakhs, that's correct. So they conducted some blind tasting sessions with almost like 2 lakh users, wherein they were made to taste the old Coke, the new one, which will come in the market, and Pepsi as well. Out of those 2 lakh users, majority of them, they preferred the new one, the new Coke, right? So as a PM, what will you literally conclude from this? So out of those 2 lakh users, they tasted old product, new product, and a competition product. and they found that yes, my new product has been accepted. Let's assume from those 2 lakh, 1,70,000 said yes, we love the new one. So Sridhar, what will be your takeaway from this, and what will be your next action?
There is a lot of noise here. There are so many kids, so I'll be just in mute.
Okay, fine. So that's okay. But I'll just jump over to Rakesh.
Maybe first they should go and check with their loyal customer what they are saying, whether they really want a change or not before giving it to the market.
Right. Okay. Anvisha.
Since like most of them like the new product, maybe like it's time to realize that we move on from the old one to the new one and introduce it to the market.
Okay, so as a company, we should move on from old one to the new one. Is that what
Since
you're
from our analysis, we found that out of 2 lakh, 1,70,000 liked it.
uh-huh.
Yeah. Or we could give it a different name, like a different name, and release it in the market.
Okay. So let me just put it again. In those user research sessions,
Yeah.
out of those 3 products, everyone liked the new product, right? But nobody said that they don't like the old one. They out of those 3, they like the new one, but nobody said that they hate the classic Coke.
Yeah.
So this was the mistake. Sorry, somebody. So this was the mistake which they did, that out of those 2 lakh users, assuming 1,80,000 said that they like the new Coke, but nobody said that they don't like the classic one. So what Coca-Cola as a company did, they stopped producing the old Coke, the classic Coke, and they introduced the new Coke in the market. Now that was not accepted at all, because people still preferred the old one, but they never said that you stop producing it and will accept the new Coke and it will be a hit like the old one. So they eventually ended up stopping the production for the new Coke and switching back to the old one, which was a classic Coke, the regular Coke, it was later renamed to regular Coke. So the lesson from this is that when we are doing the user research, let's always define the hypothesis and the objectives very clearly, right? And we need to analyze the results in a very systematic approach. Never just conclude something at a click of a button that yes, this is it. Let's stop producing the old one. Let's add this feature to the product, sunset the old feature, things like it. Never, never, never do that, right? So that was a very small example. I wanted to just bring it to you. Let's do a quick quiz. You have a minute. It's 21:09 by my clock, and let's see what do you think of this? Just give me a minute, guys. I'll just pause at this screen and I'll be back in 30 seconds. Yes, please. So let's start with Sakshi. Sakshi, you're on mute. Pritam, you want to answer this?
Yeah, I think all of those, all of those might be a consequence, you know. So the first point may be for some of the users, and the other points would have been a example, users aren't recommending the product to others. 10% of the users aren't willing to recommend the product to their friends because it's not up to the mark, you know, something like that.
Okay.
I think all of these might be a consequence.
No, it's not all of the above.
Okay.
It's not that.
I mean, the
So
consequence can be any of those, right?
Yes. Consequence could be.
So Sakshi here, I
Yes,
think the
Sakshi.
consequence will be the third one, that users are using the products regularly as per their needs, because we have conducted proper user research. So we know like what are their pain points, what are their needs. So and that product fulfills their need properly. So that will be the third option will be the consequence.
Okay, fine. Anybody else who agree, disagree with Sakshi and with Sridhar as well?
For me, it could be the first one.
Why? Why first one?
Because through user research, we could able to find whether it was working as per expected or not. So maybe they are expecting some improvement to the product.
Okay, fine. I'll pass it over to Sakshi. Sakshi, can you please explain with some more examples why you think point number 3 is right? Because that is correct. So good.
So see, any product, like if I'm using Zomato for let's say, so if I read the first thing, the product is unable to solve the problems of the user. So that doesn't fit in. Like if I'm through Zomato, I'm not able to order food from different restaurants. So that doesn't solve my problem. So first is eliminated. The second one is users have no idea how to use a product. So if its features are complicated, they don't understand how to order food or do anything with the app. So they will not be interested in using it. They will perhaps move to an app which has a like user friendly UI. And third is like they are comfortably using it, and whatever their needs are, it's being handled by that product. And fourth is like if people are happy with Zomato, so they will be recommending it to their friends and other people. So if they're not recommending it, that means they are not liking it that much.
Right.
So fourth is also eliminated.
Exactly. So the correct answer here is option number 3, which is users are using the product regularly as per their needs, right? Always remember, guys, that proper user research would lead to solving user problems, and they are likely to use the product regularly as per their needs, right? So that's the whole agenda. That's the objective we want to achieve through this. Does that all make sense?
So are you saying that by the user research, we can't find the issues or improvements on the product?
We will. But as Sakshi just explained it, we will be able to find the results from all these 4 things will come under this. But when we are talking about consequence, the end result, right? of conducting a proper structured user research method. That's the whole, what do you want to achieve after doing the user research? So my target is that my users should use my product regularly, right?
Doubt.
Does it make sense? I'm conducting a user session right now with 4 or 5 of us, and let's assume it's about Zomato, right? And we want to check that how is Zomato performing, how do you find using Zomato? So ultimately, after the session, right, what is my target? My target is that yes, 5 of you should use Zomato as much as possible, right? And you should recommend it to your friends and families, right? So that's what is being covered in point number 3, that users are using the product regularly. That's what I want to achieve when I'm doing a user research session.
When you say
That
proper
is
user research
expected.
method, yeah, does that mean like 100% of the things will go has gone right or like that? I mean, it never happens, right? In like real
Gone
life.
right in the sense when we are conducting the user research, or will end up with getting everyone to use my product?
Yeah, also while conducting the user research and carrying it out, implementing it, what we have analyzed.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
something can always go wrong,
exactly.
Just, yeah.
Yes.
And that doesn't specifically mean that the third option will happen. It doesn't guarantee, It's.
But see, we are kind of moving towards some more realistic kind of a thing right now. So yes, nothing is perfect, right? Nothing is perfect in this world. Even in Facebook, you'll end up with finding some bugs if you sit down and just start testing it. Even in Microsoft, we have seen that demos for Microsoft has gone wrong in the past, right? So even if we conduct a very structured user research method, things will slip here and there. That's for sure. But again, at least I'll make sure that if not 20, 15 users are using my product regularly. Right?
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
So that's something I'll still manage to achieve. I will never want that out of those 20, 15 people, they are not able to use my product, which is point number 1. I would never want that out of those 20, 15 people have no idea about what the product is doing, what the features are. I'll never want it, right, as a PM, right? As a PM, I would never want that out of those 20, 15 people, they don't recommend my product to others, right? As a PM, I would really want that at least out of those 20, 15 people are using my product. That's the end goal for every PM, engagement, user engagement. Right. So that's the reason why point number 3 is correct over here.
Okay, so I assume that the user research was done after the product is launched, but I think this is referring to prior to the product, right?
No, there's no such thing.
No, I mean, before we launch any products, we are first carrying out a proper user research method, and then we are building the product. So that means we are able to get to the third point. So users will be using.
Yes. This is a very, even if we leave this quiz for now, as a product manager, this is a very standard practice that everyone has to follow by heart, that when we are designing a product, or forget about product, whenever we are adding a feature in the product, always remember, this is a tip I'm sharing with you all, that even if you're adding a small feature in the product, always remember to go out and speak to your customers, speak to your users at least, right? The count it will really depend on the kind of feature you're building on, the kind of feature you're adding in the product. But always remember and strictly follow it. Go to your users and share that feature with them, maybe in a form of a prototype, in a wireframe, piece of a paper, wherever it is, whatever it is. Always go and share that with them to get some real sense that how they like it, they don't like it, because ultimately it's always your users who will be using the product. So please always remember it.
Yeah,
On the
got it.
same ground.
One question I have.
Yes, please.
So how do you find the users? So for example, Zomato. So before you launch a product, how you do know the customers and how you research?
Okay. So there's always a group of your first beta testers or beta users who are there. Let's to answer this, let's take two scenarios. I'm working on a brand new product, right? Which is, there's no competition in the market. It's a brand new app, brand new first time app in the world, and we are trying to solve something really great, right? So I don't have any competition in the market, but still the pain point, user pain point, which I'm trying to solve, at least I'll know that yes, these are the bunch of users who may be facing or going through this pain point. So they are my beta testers, right? I'll reach out to them. I'll give them some kind of a reward as well, that if you use my app for say 7 days and share your feedback, I'll give you a $50 Amazon voucher, things like that, right? Second approach could be that I'm building something, say I'm building a new Zomato, right? So I already know that you are a Zomato user, right? This data is available, right? Or even if it's not available, then we already know that yes, most of us are either Zomato or Swiggy users, at least, right? Correct me if I'm wrong here.
Yeah.
So I already know my target user. I need to target you to use my app. So I'll come to you, I'll connect with you, I'll drop you an email. Maybe somebody from my customer success team will reach out to you and just offer you this, that again, $20, $30 Amazon voucher, use my product, share your just kind of share your thoughts on it. That's it. And believe me, guys, this is something which is practically being done as well in the market today, that there are a bunch of beta testers or beta users who are available, right? There are the proper research companies, well established, who actually do all this. And that's how you reach to the users, you get some data, and you start working on it. The third scenario here could be that my product is already being used by a company, and I have like say 20,000 users who are using my product, already using my product. So if I'm adding a new feature in that product, so it's a very easy for me to just reach out to a handful of people, users from that list of 20,000 users, and just ask them to be my beta users, and just share their experience about the product with me. So we have like three different set of users rather, to conduct these user sessions.
And how do we decide the count of users?
There's a proper formula for it. We'll come to that. Right, your target users for user research. I'll talk about that. I'm just kind of putting it on hold for now. So, but yes, we'll answer.
Does customer onboarding come? Does that come into user research category, or is it something else?
No, that is a different thing altogether. Customer onboarding
Yeah.
is getting the users are,
Yeah.
they already know my product, right? They have already agreed to use my product. So onboarding is a different.
Yeah, but the research is required there also, right? On how we'll onboard the users.
Yes.
I may be wrong, but
Yes.
I want some clarification,
Okay. Uh, if you're talking in that sense, yes, your user research will be required literally for all the features, all the experience, all the touch points the users have with your product, right? So onboarding, yes, definitely is one of the key touch points. It's a first impression which a user is making. So we'll always conduct a user sessions for that perspective as well.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Another
So,
question is PM involved in all these activities, or there would be some other person like a sales or marketing guy who reaches out to the customers and does this research?
practically, I don't want to go too bookish on this, but practically, this is again completely on my experience. It's most of the times PM and somebody from the UI who normally conduct these user research sessions. The reason being, a PM will always put forward the functional part of the product, right? The impact areas, what we are trying to solve, what we are not trying to solve, what we are trying to achieve on the objective. Wherein the UI guy, they will understand the user's experience when it comes to using the product. Are they kind of doing 3 clicks to achieve? Is the CTA like after 4 clicks? Right? Do they find the button to be on left aligned, right aligned? Do they prefer the image to be on top or on the lower section of the screen? So as far as I've seen, it's always me with some UI team member who will be doing that user research, provided we are doing it face to face. If we are doing it in a form of a survey, right, then there's just like you draft a survey and you send it across to your target users, you'll get the results and you just need to analyze that result. So in that case, there's no one-to-one contact between the users and you. But when we are doing it face to face, maybe a Zoom call, something, then yes, most of the times it's PM and a UI.
Okay, thanks.
Right? Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks a lot for this discussion, for firing these questions. Great, thank you. And we were already there. So this is the second one for you. I didn't know it was already there on the screen. So what is your thought of this?
Understand the needs and problems.
Sorry, your voice is very low. Sakshi. We'll just give you 20 seconds more and any one of
I
you?
might be wrong here, but I'm gonna go with all of the above.
Sorry, with?
All of the above. I mean, all four of the points kind of play a role, I guess. The user research.
These are the
procedure.
steps of research actually. The last one is analyzing data.
No, actually. All of them is not right. So please read the question again.
Second one.
I think
Which of these
fourth
steps involved
option,
in-
like conduct research, and based on what we results we get from the research, we can formulate a hypothesis and an objective for that.
Not this time, no. You need to understand the needs and the problems of the user. You need
Third
to,
one, I guess.
the objective is to understand the need and problems of the user. Come on, guys, I've already given you the answer.
Third one,
No.
So define objectives.
Yes.
Fourth one, okay.
It's always the objective, right? Because your objectives will help you understand the needs and problems of the user. If I need to conduct a user research today to understand how the profile section is working, right? So my complete focus will be all around that profile section of my product. So my objective is to understand how 5 of us use the profile section, right? Then accordingly, I'll formulate my questions. Accordingly, I'll select my user research method. Accordingly, I'll analyze the data. So when we are talking about user research, to understand the pain points of the users, to understand those wow moments for the users, always remember that you really need to be very clear on your objective, what you want to achieve with your user research. That's like very important out here. So that's why it's define objectives, because your objectives will help you understand the needs and problems of the users. Right. Do we understand that?
So I think like it would be like suppose we decide to go with the questionnaire. So we will define questions based on what problem when we are trying to understand like what are the needs and problems of the customer, we'll try to understand that through the questionnaire, and then we will analyze we'll have some hypothesis based on hypothesis, and based on that we will be having our results analyzing the data and matching it with the hypothesis, like whether it's correct hypothesis or not. Okay.
But in all of this, if your target is not clear, right, will your hypothesis hold any value in that case?
So
if under profile section, I want to see the usage of branding section. Imagine there's a product and under user profile, I as a user can select my own branding, how the look and feel of my website, right? And I want to check the usage, or I want to check the success failure of that branding section, right? And I'm not clear on the objective. Imagine, right? I'm talking about everything which is there in the profile section, and I have just defined my hypothesis, research methods, everything for the complete profile section. But my target was only and only the branding section. So will I actually get correct results from all my research?
no, so the steps will be like, first of all, we should have an objective, right?
Yes.
Like, and hypothesis will come in picture at what step? Like
these are like interchangeable. You can probably put it at point number 1 or point number 2. It will not make a difference.
Okay.
Practically, if you understand, it will not make a lot of difference over here. Right? If we kind of go back, it was you state the hypothesis. Your hypothesis for us is nothing but just the assumption. I would still say that hypothesis will come at point number 1, because I have some assumption which I want to validate, right? My assumption is that, say, out of 10,000 users, 7,000 users, they like the branding section. That's my assumption, which I want to validate. So my objective is that I want to get the feedback from those 10,000 users, right? So whatever number I'll select, we'll talk about that in future, probably in the next class. So I want to check that, okay, those 10,000 users, they are my target users for the survey. And I need to check that, okay, they like the branding or not. what they like in branding, what they don't like in branding. That's the objective I want to achieve. Then I'll select the user research method. It could be because my target audience right now for the research is 10,000. So I'll most likely go with the survey. Right, I'll drop a survey, could be a Google form, could be from SurveyMonkey and any of those mediums. I'll drop a survey to those 10,000 users. So basically in conduct survey, I'm conducting that survey, right? I've dropped an email to those 10,000 users. Out of those 10,000 users, assume that only 5,000 replied. So I got that 5,000 data count, and then I'll start analyzing it. And then I will see that, yes, if my initial hypothesis was say 70%, so out of those 5,000 users who have replied to my survey, do I meet that 70% of hypothesis or not? So this is how practically this is being done.
Okay.
Right. So that's why the order is, you state the hypothesis, you define what you want to achieve, then you start with the workflow on it. Take a pause. Think about any weird, practical, non-practical, and anything which comes to your mind. And if you give me go ahead, then I'll move over to the next topic. Are we good?
Yeah.
Are we clear on this? Rather than good, are we clear on what we are trying to achieve?
Yeah.
Yes. Is that yes from everyone else?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So the next interesting topic is about users and customers. Right. Anybody wants to jump in and just share their thoughts on this? Are they like same? Are they different? Well, what is this? Users and customers.
I think users will be the ultimate person, the last person in the chain who will be ultimately using that product. And customer can be who purchases that product. Like definitely, like not necessarily that person will be using that product. Like if it's a child product for children, like their parents will be purchasing it. So they will be the customers, but ultimately it is being purchased and will be used for the children or used by the children, by the kids. So
yes. Okay. Rakesh, do you
Yes, definitely.
agree?
So I think baby diaper is a very good example for this.
Right. So you agree with her, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, perfect. I'll just call in Sakshi again. And Sakshi, can you please explain this? Because you are right on this. So can you please explain this to the whole group?
Yeah, so I'll repeat the same thing. That customer is like, suppose there is a baby at home, and obviously he can't or he or she can't go and purchase things for himself. But their parents will see what's good for him, and they will purchase it. So they will be paying for that product or service basically, but the ultimate user will be the baby. Even though he's not paying for it, but he's using that product.
Exactly. Do we understand this, guys? Because as for a product manager, for a PM, it's very important to differentiate between a user and a customer, right? And these are like two terms which are often confused with each other. But as Sakshi explained, they are completely different terms and they have different meaning altogether, right? She has explained it pretty well that yes, user is somebody who's actually using the product and at times they may not be paying for it. And customer is somebody who is using the product. There's no hard and fast rule that users cannot be customers or customers cannot be users. If I'm using, say I bought this laptop and I'm using it right now, so I'm a customer and I'm a user as well. Consider an example wherein the finance team has paid for the Zoom account which we are using right now, and they are not using this, rather I'm using. So for Zoom, I'm a user, whereas Ritik is a customer or BrightEyeGo is a customer. So that's the basic difference when it comes to users versus customers. So on the basis of that, assuming that it's pretty clear, Sakshi has explained it twice. I've given a brief on that as well. So it's time for a quick quiz. I'll be back in 20 seconds and let's look for the answer for this. Yes, please. So who wants to answer this?
It is both.
And why both?
Because he actually paid for the service and he himself is using.
Okay. Really? Anybody who kind of disagrees with this?
The answer can be both, but he's not the only user in this case.
I also think it's the user because it's not mentioned anywhere that he has paid for the service.
Let's just read it again. Zoom provides a service of calling over internet to this. It has features such as this. So Sandeep, who is a power user of Zoom, operates his business from India. Sandeep needs to communicate frequently to his clients based out in UAE. This. So he uses Zoom paid account for this in this scenario. So he's a power user already of Zoom, and he operates his business using it. Right. This was a catch in this. It's actually both, right? Because he's both the user and the customer, as he's using the service being offered by Zoom, and also he's carrying out a purchase transactions over here. He's running his business from it. He's the only one who's doing it. It's really not been mentioned that somebody else bought it for him or not. So he is using the Zoom's paid account service. I know it was a kind of a tricky, but just get some sense out of it that yes, you will end up in these kind of tricky things. Obviously not the quizzes, but something of that sort, even in a practical scenario when you're using when you talk to your real customers. Right. So the objective is, let's leave this quiz for now. The objective here was to understand the difference between users and my customers. And when you want to reach to a specific person, I'm just calling it a person right now. When you want to reach to a specific person to conduct a user research sessions, always and always your target should be the person who is using your product. Not somebody who has paid for the product or anybody from that role. Always target the person who is actually using the product. Only he will be the one who will give you the true insights of your product, how it's been used overall. Does that sounds clear? Any doubts? Are we good?
Yes.
Okay. So the next interesting topic, which is like very important, equally important for a product manager, is market research versus user research. Again, these are like two different terms altogether. And as a PM, you really need to understand the difference between the two. So before I jump in, somebody please share your thoughts on this. What market research could be?
Hi, Rakesh here. May I?
Yes, yes, please.
So user research is more about the user persona, his behavior,
Yes.
demography, and everything. But market research is about the product, market demand, supply, competitors, in totality, the entire market size for the product.
Yes, yes. Right, you're correct. On target on this. And anybody else? Thanks. Anyone else?
Market research could be also research about the competitors.
Yes. Right. So yes, both of you are right on target on this. You literally hit the bullseye. So as a PM, always remember that both market research and user research, they are important for the success of the product, right? But as a product manager, you should be very clear on how they differ from each other. Market research, as we talked about, it will look at the market trends and my consumers' demographics, my competition in the market, all those things, right? Whereas my user research, as we discussed, it focuses more on how my users feel about the product, how they use my product, right? What they like, what they don't like. So that's like one of the basic differences between these two. And this is exactly what I said, that it's looking at the product and it's kind of differentiating out here. And just to put it in a more structured way, market research will look more at the trends which are there in the market. Say right now, the trend is contactless delivery from both Zomato, Swiggy, and even from Amazon. So that's a trend in the market. So when I'm doing a market research, if say my objective is to measure the success of contactless delivery, so that's the market research I'm doing, right? Market research is more at a macro level, at a broader picture, right? And it's more generic in nature always. But when we're talking about user research, here we are talking about the opinions and the behaviors of the users, right? It's very micro in nature, wherein I'm sitting right next to the user, I'm looking at how they're using my product, I'm I've kind of fired some survey questions to them, detailed survey questions. They'll answer them, then I'll analyze it. So it's a very micro level kind of thing. It's because it's literally very deep focused, right? And it's very specific in nature, user research. Whereas market research, it's very broad, it's generic compared to my user research. I'll share some articles on this for more understanding. And to make it more clear, let's just quickly look at this one. Let us take 20 seconds and let's see. Any one of us?
Market research.
Market research.
And why not user research?
Because he wants the percentage of the whole population of vegans, and doing only user research, he cannot. I mean, user research cannot bring him that results. He needs to analyze the whole market.
Right, right. Exactly. He needs to understand his target is the entire market. That what is his target servable market? TSM. So that's why it's market research. Any one of us who thinks different? No. Are we all aligned on this? Yes, no, maybe.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for this. So the next one was all about 0 to 1 and 1 to n. So as we discussed initially, 0 to 1 is nothing but we are kind of building the product from scratch, right? We are literally doing it just right. Consider it writing the first line of code in the product. That's 0 to 1. Whereas 1 to n, it's more about iterating on the same product, adding some more features and taking it out to the market. It's already there in the market. I'm incrementally adding something and I'm selling it, right? For 0 to 1 stage, user research is done for validation of your product idea. Again, 0 to 1, validation of your product idea and getting some feedback on that idea itself. Whereas in 1 to n, it's more about getting the feedback on the features which are already there. You have added some features, so getting some feedback on it. Because in 0 to n stage, there could be a scenario that the real product, it's not there. I just have a prototype and I will reach out to one of you and show that working prototype to you and just kind of get your thoughts on it. So that's nothing but I'm in a 0 to 1 stage. I'm doing some user research to get some feedback on that functionality which is there in that prototype. Whereas when it comes to 1 to n, I already have the working software. I've reached out to one of you just to get some real life sense of how you like that product or not, like that feature to be more specific. So that's how the user research, it literally differs from for 0 to 1 to 1 to n. I'll just give you like, let's wait for 10 seconds here on the screen. Please go through it and let me know if you have any questions, if you have any doubts on this, because this is very important. The difference will literally come that if you're working as a PM in a startup, then of course, initial days, it will be all about 0 to 1. But if you join a product which is already out there in the market, then the chances are you will never come across the 0 to 1 and you will only be focused on 1 to 1. So it will really vary from the company you're working with. Sorry. Do we get some sense of it? What is meant by this slide? We have any doubts? Are we clear?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Others?
I had a doubt, not specifically regarding this, but can we like copyright a like product idea? Supposedly I am developing a product which is in 0 to 1 stage. The competitor in the similar space has like more funding and gets the idea on what I'm developing, and the competitor takes away my product. Can I like sue or something, sue him or her?
If you
Totally
could,
hypothetical, but yeah.
if your
And
product is already registered somewhere, legally registered, it's a patent
yeah,
product.
but yeah, during 0 to 1 stage, we are not registering or patenting it, right?
No, why
We are
not?
testing it,
No, you can.
but
Who said
that would
that?
take like more time, right?
See, yeah, time factor will always be there, but it's just more like it's all about the legal battles you have to fight
Yeah.
in that case. You have to prove that yes, this was literally your idea, not my idea, it was your idea. Then
Yeah,
more
totally a
legal paperwork
hypothetical
you have to
situation.
prove it.
So
So it's all
just
about
had to
who
get it
has
out. Sorry for that.
no, that's fine. Please don't be sorry for it. Any sort of questions, they are equally important for all of us. So please don't be sorry. Related, non-related questions, anything you have, just fire it right away. So it will be all about who can prove that yes, the idea was his or her, right? Legally, paperwork, any sort of things. So it will be more of a legal battle in that case. If a patent was registered by you first, not by me, then of course you'll win it. Thoda jaldi ho jayega, but otherwise it will be a long battle between two of us.
It is very much like a domain name. The one who
Yes,
filed the first, get the first, is the
Yes.
ultimate the honor of that.
yes,
But yes, to protect the name, what we do, like 0 to 1 productdevelopment.com, .in, .net, we take every domain, right? So that nobody
Yes.
should copy just the domain and then put it his own name. Similar way, if we file any patent, so we try to file all the derivatives of that patent as well in a similar
Yes.
fashion, so that we get the number of patent. Nobody should come closer to what the idea that I'm having.
Exactly. And it's never about that patent has been verified and approved. If I'm not sure if any one of you have seen it, there's a disclaimer as well that patent is pending. There's something of that sentence as well which runs on the products, patent pending. So which means that I've already filed for the patent and it's still in process. So even that will work in my favor.
Absolutely.
Right? So yes, but yes, that's a good one, please. And request, don't be sorry for these questions. I love it that way. So going back to Mr. Sandeep, this is another one for you guys. Yes.
So it's in 0 to 1 stage.
Why?
he recently launched and he's just testing it in the market, whether it is being adopted by the user that he targeting to or not, or whether
The
there is
product
some
has
limitations.
already been launched.
I think it's 1 to N stage.
Yes, it's actually 1 to 1 because the product has it's already been launched, right?
Yeah, because otherwise in 0 to 1 stage, he would have been testing the idea of that product, whether people are liking that idea or not.
Yes, exactly. You're right.
True.
But I have
Right.
one more question, like, can a product be in both stages? Like, no, right?
No, practically no.
Yeah, and I have one more question, like, are PMs also part of market research team?
They are.
Okay.
They are. Yes. Because let's take an example. I'll give you my own example. If I have to build a feature in my product, and accordingly, I need to figure out that who the target users, they're in which particular market area, right? If I'll give you a very practical example. In my previous organization, I wanted to conduct an integration in my product for Slack, right? So for that, my target set of users were more from the, okay, let's forget Slack. I'll give you a more practical example. I want to integrate Jira as a software in my product, right? So for that, my target market altogether would be the companies in, say, Silicon Valley compared to the ones which are in, say, Nairobi or some other market, right? So I'll prefer to conduct the market research in Silicon Valley rather than doing it somewhere else, right? So it will really depend on what kind of feature I'm adding to that product, which will be the market I can target with it. If the feature I'm adding in my product, it's more for, say, supermarkets, and I know that in US there's a big, let's say Walmart is a big player, is the biggest player. So that's the market I'll target, the market where the Walmart is already established, rather than going out to somebody, a smaller player, which is not my target right now. So for a PM, it's equally important.
Okay.
Okay, so yes, for this it's 1 to N. So we'll
Manu, but at some cases, maybe what Sakshi asked the question, that is there some product which can be in both the stage 0 to 1 or 1 to N? I just have a classic example, if you can put some light on that. There are a couple of softwares which normally ask for user registration for the beta testing of some features. Like when WhatsApp was launching its feature with shared location, that time they had this one, if you want to have a beta testing user of the first few features. So I remember that because when I signed up and I got that feature immediately, but my other colleagues or friends or family members were not getting that feature.
Yes.
And then I was testing it accordingly. So that time I think that was the 0 to 1 stage rather than we can call it 1 to N stage.
No, it was still 1 to N because WhatsApp is already there in the market.
Okay.
They just added a feature on top of it. Right.
Got it. Okay.
So that's why it's 1 to N. I'll just go back here. See, 1 to N stage means you're iterating upon an existing product. You're adding something new. Whereas in 0 to 1, you are building the WhatsApp right now. You have an idea, that's it. And they come to you and said that, okay, we are coming up with this messaging app. How do you like it? Right. So they may give you some prototypes, or they may give you some working prototypes for it as well. So that's where 0 to 1 is. But in your case, it was 1 to 1, clear cut. Right. Perfect, guys. So that's pretty much for today. And tomorrow we'll just continue with that. This is what we have for tomorrow. User research methods. Then there will be a couple of quiz, some additional read articles. Then we'll talk about surveys. And this is where we'll talk about the count, which I mentioned. One of you asked me that time, right? So the process, how do we conduct the surveys? What's the objectives and hypothesis, all those things with some typical examples over here. And what are the survey tools, what to ask, what not to ask in a survey, how do you actually plan your survey, then a couple of quiz, then we conducted the survey, sorry, then we'll analyze the data, then a couple of more examples, then that's it. And there will be an assignment in the end. Interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, guys, fine. So we'll end up the session. And if you have any doubts, any questions, please feel free to drop a message in the group and we'll answer it straight away. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll connect with you tomorrow and take care. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Good